Noel gripped the steering wheel tightly, feeling the hum of the engine beneath his fingers. The car moved smoothly along the wide highway that cut through the rocky plains of Kepler 442b. Outside, the sky glowed with soft purple and orange hues as the twin suns began to set. It was quiet, almost too quiet, and Noel liked it that way. Space travel had taught him that silence could be dangerous, but it was also a chance to think. He glanced at the dashboard. The AI module he was transporting blinked softly, its light steady and reassuring. It was small but powerful, a piece of technology that could help humans understand alien intelligence. That was why Noel had been chosen for this mission. He was careful, precise, and above all, good at staying calm under pressure. As he drove, a flicker of movement caught his eye. On the side of the road, a small vehicle sat motionless, smoke curling from its hood. Noel slowed the car, curiosity pushing him forward. In space, encounters were rare, and even a small accident could turn deadly if ignored. A figure waved weakly from the stranded vehicle. Noel rolled down his window. "Are you okay?" he called. The figure, a young woman with short dark hair and a worried expression, nodded but did not answer immediately. I think so. My car broke down," she said finally. "I need help." Noel studied her carefully. There was nothing unusual about her at first glance, but her eyes held something different: alertness, caution, maybe even fear. In his experience, people who traveled alone in these parts usually weren't ordinary. Something about her told him she might know more than she let on. "Hop in," he said after a moment. "I can give you a lift to the next station." The woman hesitated. "Are you sure?" "Yes. It's safer together." She opened her door and climbed in. Noel noticed the way she kept her hands close to herself, almost guarding something invisible. She introduced herself as Myra, and they shook hands briefly. The car moved on, gliding over the smooth road. Silence stretched between them, broken only by the soft whir of the engine. Noel wanted to speak, to ask why she was out here alone, but he also knew it was best to wait. Trust had to be earned. Myra finally broke the silence. "You're carrying an AI module, aren't you?" she asked, her voice careful but curious. Noel's eyes narrowed slightly. "How do you know that?" I've heard rumors. The researchers talk about it." "It's important, isn't it?" "Yes," Noel said, keeping his tone neutral. "Very important." "Why are you asking?" Myra looked away, her gaze fixed on the horizon. "I just want to understand. Humans do amazing things with machines. Sometimes, it's surprising." Noel smiled faintly. He had heard similar words before, but there was a sincerity in Myra's voice that felt different. He decided not to probe further for now. Minutes passed, and the quiet of the road returned. Then, suddenly, the car shivered. Lights flickered across the dashboard, and a small warning beep sounded. "Noel?" Myra asked, a hint of fear in her voice. "I know," he said calmly, his hands steady. "Just a minor glitch. Nothing to worry about." He reached under the dashboard and pressed a series of buttons, overriding the minor system failure. The car's hum steadied again, and Myra relaxed slightly, though she kept her eyes on him with a mixture of curiosity and concern. "You're good at this," she said softly. "No choice out here," Noel replied. "You learn fast when mistakes can cost lives." For a while, they drove in silence again, but the mood had shifted. There was a quiet connection growing, an unspoken understanding that they might need to rely on each other. Noel sensed it, and it made him more alert. Then, as the sky darkened and stars began to twinkle faintly above, Noel noticed another flicker on the road ahead. Something moved in the shadows, a figure? A drone? He couldn't tell immediately. He slowed the car again, alert and ready. Myra looked out the window, tense. "What is it?" she whispered. "Not sure yet," Noel said. "But we need to be careful." The road stretched before them, dark and endless, filled with uncertainty. Noel knew one thing for certain: this journey would not be simple. And whoever or whatever was out there in the shadows, it would test them in ways they had not imagined. But Noel was ready. Humans had a way of facing the unknown, of thinking, acting, and surviving. And he would prove, even in this quiet stretch of alien highway, that human ingenuity and courage could overcome almost anything. The car moved steadily along the winding highway, its headlights cutting through the dimming light of Kepler 442b's twin suns. Noel's hands rested lightly on the wheel, but his mind was alert. Myra sat beside him, quiet, occasionally glancing at the dashboard or out the window. There was something about her that didn't quite add up, and Noel couldn't shake the feeling that she was hiding something. "Why are you traveling alone?" Noel asked casually, trying to read her expression. Myra hesitated. "I was sent on a research mission," she said finally. "But my ship malfunctioned. I needed a lift." Noel nodded slowly. The explanation made sense, but he couldn't ignore the flicker of unease in her eyes. Humans were unpredictable, but Myra's behavior was different, too careful, too precise. Almost like she was watching him as much as he was watching her. He decided to test her, carefully. "Do you know much about AI systems?" he asked. Myra's eyes lit up, and she leaned forward slightly. "A little. Enough to understand how it works. But your module, it's advanced. I can tell it's not ordinary." Noel kept his tone steady. "And why does that interest you?" "I'm curious," she admitted. "Curiosity is natural, isn't it?" Noel smirked faintly. Curiosity was indeed natural, but it could also be dangerous. He remembered how many explorers had underestimated others, leading to disaster. He would keep an eye on her, but he also had a feeling that Myra might be more than she seemed. As they continued driving, the car shuddered slightly. The dashboard flickered again, and a low warning beep echoed through the cabin. "Not again," Noel muttered. He quickly reached under the console, overriding the minor glitch. The car's systems hummed back to life, steady and reliable. Myra leaned back in her seat, watching him carefully. "You're fast," she said softly. "You fixed it before it became a problem." "Experience," Noel replied. "Out here, you learn quickly or you don't learn at all." For a moment, the tension between them eased. But Noel couldn't shake the feeling that something or someone was interfering with the car. He checked the sensors, scanning for unusual readings. Nothing appeared. Yet the glitches persisted, subtle and irregular, almost as if the car itself were being tested. He realized the challenge wasn't just mechanical. Someone, or something, might be observing them. Noel's mind raced through possibilities: rogue AI drones, alien surveillance, even interference from rival research teams. He didn't panic. Humans had a unique advantage: they could adapt. Logic and quick thinking were his tools. Myra seemed to sense his caution. "Are you worried?" she asked. "No," Noel said smoothly. "Just alert." Out here, that's necessary. The road stretched ahead, dark and twisting. Shadows danced in the distance, created by the uneven terrain and flickering headlights. Noel's eyes flicked from the road to the sensors repeatedly. Nothing concrete, but instinct told him something was near. Suddenly, the car jolted. The lights flickered violently, and the engine hesitated. Myra grabbed the edge of her seat. "What is it?" she whispered, her voice tied with fear. "Stay calm," Noel said firmly. "It's another glitch. Could be mechanical, or it could be interference. Either way, we handle it the same way." He accessed the control panel and rerouted the power. Sparks of light flashed across the dashboard, but the system stabilized. The car hummed steadily again, and Myra exhaled with relief. "You're impressive," she admitted quietly. "I didn't expect someone to handle it so calmly." Noel allowed a small smile. "Humans survive because we adapt. We think, we plan, we act. Machines can calculate, but they can't anticipate like we do." Myra studied him for a long moment, her expression unreadable. Then she nodded slowly. "I see. Maybe humans are stronger than I thought." They drove in silence for a while, the road stretching endlessly ahead. Noel focused on the highway, but he also kept an eye on Myra. Her presence was intriguing, and despite his suspicion, he felt an odd sense of trust growing between them. Perhaps it was mutual reliance, or perhaps it was simply the shared experience of facing the unknown together. Then, a flicker in the distance caught Noel's attention. Another figure, moving strangely across the road. Not a vehicle, something else. He slowed the car and tensed, ready for anything. "What is it?" Myra asked, leaning forward. "Not sure yet," Noel said. "But whatever it is, we'll handle it. Humans are good at solving problems." The figure paused, then vanished into the shadows. Noel's instincts told him this was just the beginning. Whoever or whatever was out there would test them in ways they couldn't yet imagine. Noel glanced at Myra. "We need to stay sharp," he said. "Out here, survival depends on noticing the small details, and acting fast." Myra nodded, a quiet determination settling over her features. She seemed to understand that this journey would not be simple, that the road ahead was more than just a path through alien terrain. It was a test of trust, intelligence, and courage. And Noel was ready. Humans had faced the unknown before. They had survived. And they would survive again. Noel's eyes narrowed as the flicker in the distance became clearer. Shadows shifted unnaturally across the road, and then, without warning, a mechanical whirring filled the air. A sleek, drone-like machine hovered in front of the car, blocking the highway. Its lights glowed red, and sensors scanned rapidly, tracking their every movement. Myra's eyes widened. "What is that?" she asked, her voice tied with fear. "Trouble," Noel replied calmly. "And we need to deal with it fast." The car shuddered as the drone made a sudden move, swooping down in an attempt to stop them. Noel's hands gripped the steering wheel firmly. "Hold on," he warned Myra. He quickly assessed the situation. The drone was controlled by advanced artificial intelligence, but it relied on predictable algorithms. Humans, however, could improvise. Noel calculated the angle, the speed, and the timing. Then he acted. He tapped a sequence on the dashboard, switching the car into manual override mode. The engine roared as the vehicle surged forward, dodging the drone's first strike. Sparks flew from the road where the drone had tried to block them, but Noel kept his focus sharp. Myra leaned forward, gripping the seat. You're amazing. How do you do that? Experience, Noel said, his voice steady. Machines can calculate, but they can't think creatively the way humans do. That's our advantage. The drone adjusted, swooping to the side, trying to predict Noel's next move. But Noel was faster. He used a series of sudden turns and quick accelerations, forcing the drone to overcorrect and lose balance. The vehicle's tires screeched slightly as it hugged the curve of the road, narrowly avoiding rocks and jagged terrain. Finally, Noel spotted an opening. A narrow canyon to the side offered a path where the drone couldn't follow. With precise timing, he steered the car off the highway and into the canyon. Dust and small stones kicked up, obscuring their escape. The drone attempted to follow, but its sensors couldn't adjust quickly enough to the sudden change in terrain. It collided with a boulder, sending sparks into the air before finally shutting down. Myra let out a shaky breath. I didn't think we could do it. Noel glanced at her, a small smile on his face. Humans adapt. That's what we do. Machines calculate possibilities, but we create them. She nodded slowly, her earlier fear replaced by admiration. I underestimated humans, she admitted. You're incredible. They continued along the canyon path, the car bouncing slightly over uneven ground. Noel kept one hand on the wheel and the other ready on the dashboard controls, just in case another threat appeared. Why was that drone after us? Myra asked finally. Noel frowned. Not sure. Could be an alien test. Could be someone trying to stop the AI module. Either way, it's not the last challenge we'll face today. Myra's eyes reflected concern, but also determination. Then we'll face it together, she said quietly. Noel nodded, feeling a surge of respect for her. She wasn't just a passenger, she was thinking, observing, and learning. Her presence was valuable. As they drove deeper into the canyon, the landscape changed. Jagged rocks gave way to smoother plains, and the sky began to darken further. Stars appeared faintly, twinkling above the twin suns' remaining glow. The canyon offered some safety, but Noel knew the journey was far from over. He checked the AI module again. Its lights blinked steadily, as if reassuring him that their mission remained intact. Noel allowed himself a moment of calm. The first real challenge had been met and they had survived. Myra broke the silence. You trust me, she said softly. No, Noel replied, glancing at her. I observe you. We trust each other when actions prove it. So far, you've shown courage and intelligence. That's more than most would manage out here. She smiled faintly, understanding the meaning behind his words. Out here, survival wasn't just about machines or weapons, it was about human qualities, intelligence, bravery, and quick thinking. For a while, they drove in silence, each lost in thought. Noel's mind ran through every detail of the drone encounter, considering what it might mean for the rest of their journey. Myra's presence reminded him that humans could be unpredictable allies, but sometimes, that unpredictability was exactly what gave them strength. Finally, Noel spoke. We'll need to stay alert. That drone was probably just the first of many challenges. Whoever or whatever is testing us will try again. But humans, we find a way. Myra nodded, her expression resolute. Then let's face it together. As the canyon opened onto a wider road, Noel glanced at the horizon. Shadows moved in the distance, subtle, almost hidden. But he was ready. Humans had faced the unknown before, and they would do it again. Creative, courageous, and unyielding, they could overcome even the most calculated threats. Noel pressed on the accelerator, the car moving steadily toward the darkness ahead. Somewhere beyond, new challenges waited, but he knew one thing for certain: human ingenuity and courage were the ultimate advantage, and nothing could take that away. The road ahead stretched like a silver ribbon under the dim glow of Kepler 442b's twin moons. Noel drove carefully, eyes scanning the horizon, fingers steady on the wheel. Myra sat beside him, unusually quiet. Her earlier admiration for his quick thinking now seemed replaced with a more serious air, as if she carried a secret too heavy to share. After a long pause, Myra finally spoke. "Noel, there's something I need to tell you." He glanced at her. "Go ahead." Myra took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on the distant landscape. "The drone that attacked us, it wasn't random. And neither were the glitches in your car. This is a test. From an alien intelligence." Noel frowned, tightening his grip on the wheel. "Alien intelligence? You mean someone is watching us?" "Yes," Myra said quietly. "They've been observing humans for a long time, studying our behavior. Your mission with the AI module, it isn't just about delivering it. It's about seeing how humans respond under pressure. They create challenges, temptations, distractions, and they watch. Everything we do, every choice we make, is part of the test." Noel's mind raced. "Why us? Why now?" Myra shrugged. "I don't know exactly. But they want to understand humans. Not just our technology, but our morality, our creativity, our courage." The car moved forward in silence for a few moments. Noel absorbed the revelation. It explained the drone, the glitches, even the strange sense that something was observing them. But it also introduced a new concern. So everything we've faced, it's been artificial? A test. Yes, Myra admitted. But it's designed to be convincing. The more we rely on instinct, courage, and teamwork, the more they can see what humans are capable of. Noel exhaled slowly. He had faced danger before, but the idea that it had all been engineered was unsettling. Still, he felt a spark of determination. Humans had a way of rising above tests, artificial or real. "Then we prove them wrong," he said firmly. "We show them what humans can do." Myra nodded, a flicker of a smile crossing her face. "I think that's why I wanted a ride with you. I wanted to see how you would respond. And, so far, I'm impressed." Noel allowed himself a brief smile, though he kept his eyes on the road. "Humans are good at adapting. We think, we plan, and we act. That's what gives us an advantage over machines or aliens, for that matter." The canyon road opened onto a plateau, and Noel slowed the car to take in the view. The alien landscape stretched endlessly, strange and beautiful, but also dangerous. Sharp rocks jutted out from the ground, and distant shadows shifted in ways that made his instincts tense. Myra leaned forward, her voice quiet. "The aliens, they don't just test physical skill. They test choices. Temptation, fear, desire. They can create visions to distract or manipulate you. They want to see what humans value most." Noel considered her words carefully. "So the AI module, it's part of the temptation." "Yes," Myra said. "It's valuable, but it's also symbolic. It represents knowledge, power, responsibility. How we handle it shows them our judgment." Noel nodded slowly. "Then we have to stay focused. No shortcuts." No distractions. We have to rely on logic, courage, and trust. Myra's eyes met his, and for the first time, Noel saw a hint of admiration mixed with relief. "I think we can do it," she said. Together. They continued driving in silence, the weight of the revelation settling between them. Noel's mind ran through every detail of the journey so far: the glitches, the drone, Myra herself. Each event had been a test, a measure of their ingenuity and composure. He realized that every decision, no matter how small, mattered. Suddenly, the car's sensors beeped, signaling an anomaly ahead. Noel slowed, scanning the plateau. Shadows moved unnaturally, almost as if the terrain itself were alive. "Looks like the next test is near," he muttered. Myra leaned closer. "Are you ready?" Noel took a deep breath. "We don't get a choice." "But yes, we're ready." The road ahead narrowed, twisting sharply between jagged rocks. The AI module blinked softly, its light steady and reassuring. Noel felt a sense of responsibility, not just for himself or Myra, but for humanity. This test, whatever it brought, was a challenge to prove that humans could face the unknown with intelligence, courage, and morality. As the car moved forward, shadows began to shift and swirl, almost like illusions forming on the rocks. Noel felt a strange pull in his mind, a tug of desire and fear he hadn't experienced before. Myra's eyes widened as she felt it too. "Stay focused," Noel warned, gripping the wheel tightly. "Remember why we're here. Remember what we stand for." Myra nodded, determination shining in her eyes. "We can do this. We have to." The plateau stretched before them, dark and filled with uncertainty. Noel pressed the accelerator, driving toward the illusions, toward the challenge, toward the unknown. The test had begun and humans were ready to meet it head-on. Noel knew one thing for certain: whatever the aliens were trying to see, they would witness humanity at its best: clever, brave, and unyielding. The car glided along the plateau, its headlights cutting through the dim shadows. Noel's hands remained steady on the wheel, but he could feel something strange in the air: a subtle vibration, almost like the ground itself was alive. Myra sat beside him, alert and tense, her fingers tapping nervously on her lap. Then it began. The dashboard flickered, and the lights inside the car shifted in color, bathing the cabin in a soft, hypnotic glow. The AI module blinked faster, and suddenly, illusions appeared before them. On the road ahead, visions of familiar places, desires, and fears seemed to form. Myra gasped. "Noel, what is happening?" "No idea," he said calmly, though his eyes scanned every corner of the road. "But it's a test. We have to stay focused." The first illusion was subtle: a shimmering image of a safe, luxurious home appeared on the plateau. Noel saw himself stepping inside, resting, free from the stress of the mission. The temptation was powerful, but he reminded himself why he was here. The AI module, humanity's future in exploration, the test itself, these mattered far more than comfort. Myra's eyes flickered toward the vision, her lips parting slightly as if to speak. Noel reached out gently, touching her hand. "Stay with me," he said. "Don't let it distract you." She blinked, shaking her head. "You're right. Focus. This is a test." The illusions grew stronger. Shadows on the plateau shifted into forms of people they had known, long-lost friends, or figures they respected. Each image whispered promises of safety, shortcuts, or forbidden knowledge. Noel could feel the pull in his mind, subtle at first, then stronger. It was designed to make him doubt, to tempt him away from his purpose. But humans had something machines didn't: creativity, intuition, and courage. Noel took a deep breath and concentrated. He reminded himself that the images were not real, that his mission, and humanity's future, depended on resisting them. He tapped a few controls on the dashboard, using the AI module to help stabilize the car's sensors. "The module can help shield us," he said. "It can't fight the illusions entirely, but it can strengthen our focus." Myra nodded, her eyes firm now. "Then let's use it together." They continued along the road, working in sync. Noel guided the car manually while Myra monitored the AI module, keeping the systems balanced. The illusions became more personal. Visions of power, fame, and success appeared, each tailored to tempt them uniquely. Noel clenched his jaw. "It doesn't matter what they show us," he said firmly. "What matters is how we respond. Humans don't give in to fear or greed. We think, we act, and we protect what's important." Myra added, "And that's why we're human. Not machines, not aliens. We can choose courage and morality over temptation." The illusions swirled around them like a storm. Shadows stretched across the car, and faint whispers filled the cabin, offering shortcuts, promises of safety, and power beyond imagination. But Noel kept driving, steady and resolute. Myra's calm voice helped him stay grounded, reminding him of the mission and the stakes. Minutes passed, though it felt like hours. The AI module's lights blinked steadily, almost as if it were encouraging them. Noel realized that human determination could resist even the most carefully engineered manipulation. Finally, the illusions began to fade, dissolving into the shadows of the plateau. The hypnotic glow of the dashboard returned to normal, and the car's systems hummed softly. Noel exhaled, tension leaving his shoulders. Myra leaned back, her face a mix of relief and pride. "We did it," she said quietly. "No," Noel replied. "We just passed the first part of the test. There may be more ahead. But this proves something important: humans can resist temptation, even when it's designed perfectly to deceive us." Myra smiled faintly. "I see now why humans are special. We can think beyond the immediate desire. We can act with purpose." Noel glanced at the road ahead. The plateau stretched into darkness, uncertain and wide. He knew the next challenge would come, and it would test them in different ways, perhaps physically, perhaps morally. But for now, they had proven their strength. Humans had an advantage no machine or alien intelligence could replicate: the ability to choose courage, intelligence, and morality over fear, desire, or deception. And Noel knew that as long as he and Myra worked together, they could face whatever came next. The car moved forward steadily, carrying them deeper into the plateau, toward unknown dangers and tests. Noel tightened his grip on the wheel, determination shining in his eyes. Myra sat beside him, calm, ready, and resolute. Together, they were more than passengers on a journey. They were humans facing the unknown, showing that ingenuity, courage, and morality could triumph over the cleverest of tests. And the aliens watching, if they were indeed observing, would see something they had not fully anticipated: humans at their very best. Noel and Myra drove cautiously along the plateau, the tension from the previous tests still fresh in their minds. The car hummed steadily, the AI module's lights blinking softly. Despite the calm, Noel sensed movement ahead, something different this time. "Something's coming," he muttered, scanning the horizon. Myra leaned forward, her eyes sharp. "Drones." "No ordinary ones," Noel replied. "These will try to block the road completely." We need a plan. In the distance, several sleek drones appeared, hovering in formation. Their sensors glowed red, scanning the road, detecting every movement. Noel's heart rate increased, but his mind stayed calm. He knew the drones were designed to predict patterns, to anticipate human reactions. That was their advantage and also their weakness. Humans could improvise. Hold on, Noel warned Myra. The drones moved faster, closing in. Noel's fingers danced over the dashboard, rerouting power and engaging the car's manual override. The engine roared, and the vehicle surged forward. Myra observed the drone's movements carefully. They're following the standard intercept pattern, she said. They expect a straight approach. Then we don't give it to them, Noel replied. With a sudden swerve, he drove the car toward the side of the plateau, kicking up rocks and dust. The drones adjusted, but their calculations lagged behind the human unpredictability. Noel pressed a button, sending a brief electronic signal that created a decoy trail, fooling the drone's sensors temporarily. Myra gasped. You're creating a fake path for them. Yes, Noel said, glancing at her. Machines predict, humans improvise. Watch. The drones split, following the false signals. Noel accelerated, weaving between rocks and sharp ridges. The car bounced slightly, but he kept his focus, steering with precision. Myra monitored the AI module, stabilizing the system as the rough terrain challenged the car's limits. One drone adjusted faster than the others, blocking part of the road ahead. Noel didn't hesitate. He activated a secondary system on the dashboard, creating a short electromagnetic pulse that temporarily disabled the drone's sensors. Sparks flew from its surface as it lost coordination, allowing the car to slip past. That was close, Myra said, gripping the seat. No time to relax, Noel replied. There's more ahead. But remember, humans adapt. That's why we survive. The car moved onto a narrower path, twisting through jagged rocks. The drones regrouped, scanning the plateau with increased intensity. Noel's mind raced, calculating every turn, every potential obstacle. Myra suggested minor adjustments, her calm and analytical approach complementing Noel's quick reflexes. Together, they formed a perfect team, human ingenuity amplified by cooperation. As they approached a steep ridge, Noel spotted an opening, a narrow canyon that the drones couldn't navigate. That's our way, he said. Follow me. Myra nodded. I trust you. With precise timing, Noel swerved the car toward the canyon. Rocks and dust flew as the vehicle bounced into the narrow passage. The drones tried to follow, but their larger frames and rigid programming prevented them from adjusting quickly. One collided with the canyon wall, sparks flying, while the others lost track and hovered uselessly above the plateau. Breathing heavily but steady, Noel slowed the car once they were safely inside the canyon. Myra let out a relieved laugh, the tension breaking slightly. We did it, she said. No, Noel corrected with a small smile. We escaped. But the test isn't over. Whoever is watching, if they are now, knows we can think, adapt, and act. That's what makes humans strong. Myra glanced at him, admiration in her eyes. I see now. Human intelligence, courage, and teamwork, machines can't match that. Noel nodded. Exactly. That's why we survive. That's why humans succeed where others fail. The canyon narrowed, the walls rising steeply on both sides. Dust settled as the car hummed steadily along the rugged path. Noel's mind replayed the escape, the decoy signal, the pulse that disabled the drone, the canyon maneuver. Every step had relied on human creativity, timing, and courage. Machines could calculate, but they could not improvise like this. Myra reached for the AI module, checking its status. "It's safe," she said. "And so are we." Noelle exhaled slowly, feeling a sense of accomplishment. "For now. But we can't let our guard down. Tests like this are designed to be continuous. The next challenge could be anything physical, mental, or moral." Myra nodded, resolute. "Then we face it together. Whatever comes next, we're ready." The car continued through the canyon, the stars above faintly illuminating their path. Noelle felt a sense of pride not just for himself, but for humanity. They had faced a calculated threat, adapted in real time, and prevailed. Humans had something no drone, no machine, no alien test could ever fully replicate: ingenuity, courage, and the ability to act wisely under pressure. Noelle knew that these qualities would carry them through whatever lay ahead. As the canyon opened onto a wider plateau, Noelle glanced at Myra. "We've proven ourselves again. But the journey isn't over. The real test may just be beginning." Myra smiled, determination shining in her eyes. "Then we'll meet it head on." Together, they drove forward into the unknown, confident that human skill, intelligence, and courage would see them through. The plateau stretched endlessly ahead, bathed in the soft light of Kepler 442b's twin moons. Noelle kept his hands steady on the wheel, eyes sharp, but his mind carried a new confidence. The tests, the illusions, the drones, each challenge had strengthened him and Myra. Together, they had proven the qualities that made humans unique: intelligence, courage, and moral strength. "Are we close?" Myra asked, her voice calm but alert. "Yes," Noelle said. "The research station isn't far. Once we deliver the AI module, the test is complete, or at least, the current phase of it." The car moved steadily, its sensors scanning for any remaining threats. The plateau was quiet, but Noelle knew better than to trust the silence completely. Alien intelligence, if it existed, could be subtle. But he also trusted what humans had shown so far: the ability to adapt, to improvise, and to overcome. Myra glanced at the AI module, her eyes reflecting its soft blinking light. "It's amazing," she said. "I never realized how much humans could achieve when they work together." Noelle smiled faintly. "It's not just about the machines we create. It's about how we use them. Intelligence, courage, teamwork, those are the real tools that make us strong." The road curved gently as the research station appeared in the distance, a small cluster of buildings glowing softly under the twin moons. Noelle's pulse quickened with anticipation. This was the goal, the point of their mission, and the moment when they would see the results of their efforts. Suddenly, a faint shimmer appeared in the distance. Shadows formed into shapes, but this time, Noelle didn't hesitate. He and Myra had learned to recognize illusions. They drove steadily, ignoring the tempting visions, focused on the real goal. As they approached the station, a force field shimmered ahead, signaling the entrance. The AI module's lights blinked steadily, as if acknowledging that the final stage of the mission was near. Noelle guided the car through the opening, the sensors adjusting to the station's controlled environment. Inside, scientists and researchers awaited, their expressions a mix of awe and relief. Myra stepped out first, followed by Noelle, carrying the AI module carefully. One of the senior scientists approached. "Noelle, Myra, you've done it. The module is intact, and the data you've gathered, it's invaluable." The simulation was observed remotely. You passed every challenge. Noel nodded. It wasn't easy. The illusions, the drones, the temptations, they were designed to make humans fail. But we stayed focused. That's what matters. The scientists smiled, understanding the significance. It shows that humans are adaptable, intelligent, and courageous. Even under pressure, we can act with wisdom and teamwork. Your experience will help us prepare for future encounters, alien, technological, or otherwise. Myra glanced at Noel, a quiet pride in her eyes. We did it, she said softly. Yes, Noel agreed. Humans can face the unknown, overcome challenges, and succeed. That's what makes us strong. The AI module hummed gently, its system stable and secure. Noel felt a sense of satisfaction. This small device represented much more than technology. It represented humanity's ability to rise above fear, temptation, and danger. As the scientists began analyzing the module, Noel and Myra stepped outside. The twin moons shone brightly over the plateau, casting long shadows. Noel looked at the horizon, thinking about the journey, the tests, and the challenges they had faced. Do you think the aliens were really observing us? Myra asked, her voice thoughtful. Maybe, Noel replied. But it doesn't matter. What matters is what we proved not to them, but to ourselves. Humans can adapt, think, and act in ways no machine or alien intelligence can fully predict. That's the truth we carry forward. Myra nodded, understanding. Then we've shown them what humans are capable of. Noel smiled faintly. Exactly. Curiosity, courage, intelligence, morality, those are our greatest strengths. No one can take them away. The night was quiet, the plateau stretching endlessly. But Noel and Myra knew that challenges would come again, new missions, new tests, new unknowns. Yet, they were ready. Humans had faced impossible odds before, and they would continue to do so. As they prepared to return to their quarters, Noel glanced at the AI module one last time. This is only the beginning, he said. There will be more tests, more obstacles. But as long as humans rely on ingenuity, courage, and teamwork, we will prevail. Myra smiled, her confidence matching his own. Then let's be ready. Together, they walked toward the research station, carrying not just the AI module, but the knowledge that humanity could face the unknown and emerge stronger. They had passed the trials, resisted temptation, and proven that human qualities, intelligence, bravery, and morality were the greatest assets in any challenge. And as the twin moons shone down on Kepler 442b, it was clear, humans had triumphed.